Leo Lahti, Open Tools for Open Data in Finland.
Hello all. And thanks for the share organizers for the chance to come and give a presentation on our work here. So today I'm talking about open data and using it in the Finnish context and telling something about our experiences in Finland regarding this. I'm just wondering where I should, okay. So our project is called Louhos, and we basically have two main goals in this project. And the first goal is to collect and develop algorithmic tools to analyze open datasets. And the second main goal is to use these new tools to understand how the society works and increase the transparency of the society using algorithmic tools. Below is our website. You can have a look for more information from there. And just as a brief example, what we have done is the first title slide image, where I should really, okay, it's here. So here is one example of the data mining that we have done. It's about World Bank data and the Finnish migration across the world. With the blue color you will see the different countries in which Finnish people move from Finland. And with red color you see the countries from which people move in Finland. With our tool you can make automated queries for the World Bank data to get the data and make the visualizations. You could also draw similar images for other countries like Serbia, for instance. And while this is a heavily community-driven project, there has to be a coordination. And we basically have three main developers for the project. There is, in addition to me, there is Juuso Parkkinen and Joona Lehtomäki, and we are three data analysis researchers, applied data analysis research from the universities. And we have experience in mining government data sets, in data journalism, and in analyzing biological systems. And the common thing between all of these is that the algorithmic tools that you can use to mine these data are quite similar across the different disciplines. So you can transfer knowledge and transfer the tools from one discipline to another. In particular, we have developed a comprehensive R library for open data in Finland, which I will now tell something more about. But let us start by thinking about the role of data in the accumulation of knowledge. So basically, as we are starting to have more and more open data in public domain, that's just the starting point for understanding the society. You have to gather the data into information and facts, which are then accumulating to higher level knowledge and understanding of the systems based on the data. And that understanding of the systems, which is based on the measurements and data, will then help to guide action and to decide what to do and how to change the society. And in particular here, integration of data across different sources is an important step. So it's not an individual source of data that is kind of often the source of information, but the real value of these data sets comes when you integrate data across different domains and to create something that is not in the individual data sets, but instead in the actual collection. And here is an example of the Finnish context. There was a huge debate in Finland when the authorities wanted to combine some of the municipal regions and how that would affect the income distribution and other statistics like this in the different regions, because this is of course of importance for the people. And we made a visualization where we took data from a national broadcasting company, Land Survey Finland and Statistic Finland, and combined the different sources to make visualizations how the integration of the municipalities will affect the population density and other statistics across the different regions in Finland. Just to mention a brief example. But there is a lot of other data sources in Finland as well. The Statistics Finland is releasing hundreds of data sets on the socio-economical factors in Finland. In particular, the land survey in Finland is now taking active steps to release tons of data, terabytes of data actually starting next week, which will include satellite images as a time series starting from the 80s and really detailed data on the map information of the Finnish country. And there are a lot of other local distributors of data, both governmental and non-governmental, and you can also take data from international sources like World Bank and Google Maps. But then it's a problem on what should you do with all this data. So basically, in many cases, the data sets are scattered throughout the web in many different places and different formats. So it's not really an easy task to take all the data that you need and integrate into a nice, unique, coherent collection. On the other hand, also the tools to investigate the data are often very specialized to certain types of data or to certain application domains. And it becomes a problem to integrate the tools and the data. And actually the bottleneck in the open data movement is now shifting from just releasing the data to actually utilizing it and releasing the tools that you can really use to make use of the open data. And we have a solution for this written in R, which is called Turing Machine in English. It's a comprehensive R library for open data, and particularly for the Finnish context. And this tool you can use for seamless integration of the open data sets and the open algorithms to analyze these data. We have done applications on different fields like culture and free time and politics and other fields which I will mention. But if we think about the different requirements that there are for such tool, if you want to have a general purpose tool that is not restricted to a particular application domain, it has to be more or less general programming language. But of course, to make things simple for people, you have to have some ready-made tools to access the data, to pre-process the data, which is often very time-consuming, and to analyze and integrate the data and make some visualizations. By integrating all these things into a single analysis environment, you can make the analysis also transparent and reproducible and interactive. And really important point here is, in our opinion, the localization of the tools, because the needs of people and the available data sources are different in each country. So instead of making a really general packages for the whole world, it's often also useful to have these kind of complementary local tools to handle the open data sets, which will then allow you to go deeper into the workings of your own society. In the Finnish context, there is an example of the Finnish elections, Finnish presidential elections that were held just in the beginning of this year. And we collected data from Statistics Finland of the socio-economical factors of the Finnish population across the country and the popularity of the different presidential candidates. And on the left image you see the education level of the population versus the popularity of one of the Finnish presidential candidates. And you can see that there is some degree of negative correlation between these two for this particular candidate. You could also look at other things like the health status of people in different regions of the country and so on. And these maps are interactive, so you can play with the different options using the Google Map tools. And then you can also visualize the popularity of the different candidates across the different regions as seen in the right image. So we have particularly selected the R language for this purpose because its use is heavily increasing in different scientific fields, and the algorithmic tools are becoming more and more available. There are a lot of different scientific disciplines where the algorithmic tools are published continuously, and a lot of professional data exploration tools are readily available so that you can integrate them directly with the data, try different tools, and do different kinds of analysis without switching the tool in between. Okay, then I wanted to show some examples of some other election data, because we also thought it's very important point of this package that the transparency of the government can increase if you integrate the information from different sources. And here is, for instance, some issues that raised heavy debate in the Finnish society. For instance, on the left you see the popularity of NATO membership, which is heavily debated in Finland, whether we should be members or not. And when you combine that with the income level of the population, you can actually see that there is, for some reason, there is a peak in the people who are having the highest income levels. The NATO membership is particularly popular among that part of the population for some reason. And of course, if you can reveal this kind of things of the society, then you can go deeper and start looking at the different reasons for this. And so, and then we have some other statistics, for instance, on how popular the development plans for the Eurozone are. Then these tools can be used also for parliamentary surveillance. In Finland, a national media company, Helsingin Sanomat, made a lot of data available on the discussions in the Finnish parliament on what kind of things there have been discussed and which words have been used in these discussions and who of the representatives has said and what. And on the left of this visualization you see the representatives of the Finnish parliament, and on the right side you have a lot of different words about the discussions on different political topics that they have had in the parliament. And basically this graph is connecting the Finnish representatives of parliament and the different discussion topics that have raised discussion to see which members of parliament have been active in which issues. And here is one of the topics is highlighted here. So you can see that there is a cluster of Finnish representatives who have been particularly active in the Euro crisis discussion. There are on the right side you have words like Finland and Greece and Euro and crisis and so on. And you can see which representatives have raised discussion on these most. And then, of course, you could also browse through other topics and so on. Okay, and we are welcoming people also from other countries to join the efforts to open the data and to open the tools for these new data collections. And what you could particularly do is to work on similar algorithmic toolkits for your own country and get in touch with us, because then we could form a network of similar initiatives across the globe, share the code and share the effort, because in many cases the algorithmic tools, although they have to be localized, they are rather similar, and you can of course then share the effort and pool the resources. And if you have anything on this, we would be very interested in hearing. Very nice example on how to get the community involved is the OpenStreetMap project, where people are collecting geographic data with geographic information systems and GPS machines. And here is an area of Helsinki where now there is starting to be a lot of open geographic data available on Helsinki, and the different streets are easily visible, there are different buildings and so on. And one thing we built out of this is a kind of summer summer day guide for the parks. So if you happen to be in a park, you could go with your mobile phone to check where are the closest toilets, closest restaurants, and so on. And it will indicate you the locations of those places based on the open data sources, which would be then funny. Okay, this is a brief talk. I would particularly like to thank the share organizers and participants for the chance to present the work here, and many Finnish organizations that have helped us for this effort. You can check our website if you have further questions, and we would like to hear back from you. If you have any questions, I will be happy to take. Yes?
Is there a reason why you chose to build your own bespoke tools as opposed to going with a lot of the other data visualizers who use, things like processing or, open frameworks, this sort of thing?
Can you repeat? I couldn't hear.
Is there a particular reason why you've chosen to build your own library of resources rather than going with some of the other materials that you've done previously, such as processing, open frameworks, this sort of thing?
Yes, the question was, is there a particular reason why we chose to do our own library for open data? Yes, there is a very particular reason. We are trying to use the existing libraries wherever possible, not replicate the work that there is. But the localization of the open data tools is also very important. And in the context of small countries like Finland, there are no ready-made tools to fetch the local data sources and to integrate in a way that is locally meaningful. And this is why we need complementary tool for local purposes. And this is exactly what we do in Finland, and I think this is exactly what is also needed in other regions. All right, thank you.